Good Monday morning, here's Kriminal's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is the 22nd of April, and once again we will start with Nvidia. We've done it a couple of times, but the development Friday was really interesting. After testing some key supports and this gap area here a few times, Friday it opened below the 847 but above the 822, which was really key, trying to get back above 841 but couldn't, and then it got hammered. Went through the minor support at 771. Support at 742 is likely to be tested. We are now in negative sentiment. The divergence has been traded out, so now we have a completely new scenario. If it takes out 742, well, then we are down here in this, let's call it consolidation area, where we could see further sell-off down to 700, possibly lower. Don't catch a falling knife. I don't think this is over yet. We are deflating this massive bubble, and we have a double top pattern unfolding. And if we just add a little bit of Fibonacci, we can see it actually reached 161.8 projection of the double top from the, we take the valley here, and then we have the two tops, just a little bit flat, so it's not the most perfect one, but you can also see 176.4 projection is at the 742.20 support. So I think it will be tested here fairly shortly, and then we could see a bounce, of course, and you should be surprised if you see a bounce, possibly up to maybe close to 800, but the trend is down short term, and we could sell off further. We can also see here on weekly how it's really moved around or turned around. S&P 500 was, of course, also affected by that, like many other indices, and Nvidia was not the only one. We had ARM being hammered by 17%, supermicro computer by 23.45%. But S&P 500 just touched the 49.53 support, went through that 5,000 level. I think we will see a little bit of a bounce, but as you can see here, we are also in negative sentiment, so there is further downside potential if it takes out 49.53. We're close below. Well, then we're looking at 48, 45 level here, which is the 318 retracement of the entire uptrend since October. There will be days with uptrends. There will be days. We are going into the earnings season now, and there will be some corrections, of course. But it seems like we are really headed lower. Nasdaq below the cloud. Touched just the support at 16,963. Negative sentiment is warning about further sell-off in coming days. We are in negative on all fronts, in bearish trends on all fronts. But again, there will, of course, we will see some corrections along the way in the. But be careful about them. But there will be, of course. Europe is a little bit better off. We had EURUSD 50 bouncing from 48.88 Friday, continuing. Could try to get back to the 5,000 level. We can also see RSI didn't close below 40 threshold, so we're still in a positive sentiment despite the divergence here. And at the moment, it's also breaking above its falling trend line, so we could see a little bit bounce higher towards the 5,000. If it can actually get up there, is debatable, but nevertheless. DAX also 17,620, which we have been talking about for some time, and also RSI just above 40. So keep an eye on it. If we do get a close below 17,620 and RSI below 40, then we are in a little bit of a trouble there. Amsterdam actually did close below the 860 support, this gap area here, but now we are trading in it, and I think we could see here maybe the next couple of days trying to get back above 872. Whether we'll get there is hard to say, but also here we. It is a little bit uncertain at the moment, I would say. I will be a little bit cautious, but bounce up to that level is in the cards for sure. CAC a little bit frustrating, I would say. There we are. Actually bounced above from 7,900. But it needs to get back above 81.20. It needs to be close above here. If we do that, then we are back in a bullish mode with the potential up to test this previous all-time high. However, RSI actually is in a negative sentiment. Finally, on SMI, very strong move Friday, bullish engulfing, taking out the previous 3 days of trading. Could see a move up to at least trying to get up to the 11,386. I'm not quite sure we get there. We need to get back above the 100 moving average, and at the moment it seems like it's a resistance. So selling pressure seems to be coming back a little bit. On the other hand, we could be stuck down here in this area, which wouldn't be a surprise to me. So a little bit directionless at the moment, I would say. Wait and see. Moving on to euro dollar, that has been hammered lately, but past few days some volatility. 106, 107, 106.90 seems to be the range at the moment we need to break out. We are in a negative sentiment. There's no divergence. We could move lower, and if we're looking at the weekly just very quickly, you can see here how it actually broken this triangle-like pattern which we talked about previously. And I think it's just a matter of time before we will see a push lower towards 105. But we are ripe for a little bit of correction up to around 107.10, maybe a little bit higher before selling pressure will come back. But sometimes you just have to stay on the sideline, wait and see it a little bit at the moment, because now we are a little bit in guessing game here with all this volatility going around here. So I'll wait a second. But the overall and underlying trend are down, or is down. Cable. Sterling dollar, we have the downtrend to continue. We move this one. We're trading below the 123.75. There's no really strong support until around the 122.25, around this level, 122. And with the RSI being a negative sentiment with no divergence pointing to lower levels, we should see a bit of correction. But the overall trend is also down for cable, and you can see here on the weekly, zooming in a little bit, we have some support here around this level, but it's not the strongest. So we are looking at lower levels, but do expect bullish corrections. Dollar yen still has room up to 155.30. Euro yen is trying to pick up a little bit, but it needs to break above 165.35 for uptrend. If we do get that, well, then we are looking at higher levels towards 167, 167.5. Aussie yen need to get back above 100. It is this 61.8 retracement we have here. What we actually can do, we can, oh, sorry about that, then we can move it down there, but it's still the same retrace, or the same resistance, that 100 and a change. We need to break above that for further upside potential to test previous peak. Otherwise, we could be stuck range bound here, trading around at the 90 level. Sterling yen, 190, 192.75. That is the range to look out for. Need really a break above this level here, and it could take some time before we get that. Otherwise, we need to break below 190 to a move lower to 187 level. Aussie dollar spiked lower to into this consolidation area here, where we have a little bit of support at 63.60. Bouncing, I think we could bounce up to around 64.7, 64.85, around that level, maybe even higher. But we are in a negative sentiment, so we are in a downtrend confirmed with the potential down to around below 63, 62, 70. But expect further upside bounce. But the trend is down, so be careful up there. Dollar Canada, very close to the 38.2 retracement at 137.05. It's not unlikely we'll actually correct all the way down to 61.8, but I'm not quite sure we'll do that before our trend is picking up and take it towards 139. So look out for that. There is a positive sentiment. There's no divergence. There's no imbalance. So it is indicating we are likely to see higher levels on dollar Canada in coming weeks. Euro Swiss, really, with this move, it spiked down there Friday. Then it's really hard to say where we're going, but we can try to guesstimate a little bit at least. I think we'll be a little bit range bound, trading around the 97-ish level here. underlying bullish trend. Little bit of divergence. What I would do, I will actually draw a little bit of a trend line like that. I think it could come up and test that in coming days and a move up to just around 98 around this 786 retracement. But it will take a little bit of while before it actually goes higher. Dollar Swiss stayed above 90. Little bit of range bound here. If it takes out the previous peak here at 91.53, well, then we're located 92.45 around that level. If it takes out 90 to the downside, well, then we're looking down to 89. Finally, on the dollar index, just hovering around the 106 here, and also a little bit directionless, but we are in an uptrend. We should see a move, pick the upside push to pick up towards 107 level. Gold is ripe for a correction. I mean, we failed to push above the previous peak here. Just got rejected at around 2400. I think we will see a test of 2320 for 2319 support fairly shortly. Whether we'll break it is of course a little bit uncertain, but it could do that and then dip down to the 38.2 retracement of the longer uptrend here, and 61.8 of the last leg up here, and that's quite likely to be around 22.55, 22.60. There will be some support. You can also see after the dip down there. There is divergence on the RSI, so we are ripe for correction. Silver also, and it's almost ongoing, very close to be testing 27.60 support. Could see a sell-off down to 26.40 or retracement down to that, a correction down before I think we'll pick up again. If it takes out the 29, well, then it will push higher towards 30, but I'm not quite sure we'll get there. On when we're talking precious metals, platinum, actually a drop below the 61.8 retracement. I think we'll see a move down to the 786 retracement at 915, where there's a fairly strong support. Still a positive sentiment. I think will bounce from that level. And not so much precious, but it's price-wise, it's almost there. We have copper, high-grade copper, spiked higher to 455, very close to the resistance at 457. And I could just, as a side note, say that LME copper, that is been trading in London, that's the benchmark, actually touched, I think it touched the 10,000, and that's a very psychological level. So maybe we'll see a little bit of setback. If you want to know more about LME copper, we don't have it on the platform because it trades in a special way. In London, then check out Ole Hansen, our commodities expert. He knows everything about LME copper. All right, moving on to the energy market. We have WTI that is under pressure. It couldn't really hold up this bounce here Friday, so selling off. I think we will move down to around 80 support level, where we have the 55 moving average come out with 200 moving average. We have some support, and we had a 38.2 retracement just around the 80 level on WTI, and then I think we will see a bounce. Brent also 84.75, and the lower rising trend line, all the moving averages also coming up here, and the 38.2 retracement, and then I think we'll see a bounce. Finally, let's have a look at the US Treasury yields as usual. Still in an uptrend. I think 470, well, we were very close to here the other day. 475, which is the 786 retracement. We are in an uptrend, and medium term we could push higher, but as long as we stay above 447, then I'm not too worried. Well, you should be worried. We don't like higher interest rate, but that's at least that seems like the way we are pushing at the moment. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and happy trading.